we'll start with the chapter that is human health and diseases. Okay. So what do you understand by health? Health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. Okay. So if you say that you are physically fit but mentally you are in depression, or you do overthinking, or you are not able to sleep, okay, so we cannot say that you are healthy. Okay. Now there is a person who is physically fit, mentally fit, but he doesn't know how to behave in a group of people or in a particular environment, so we can say that that person is not healthy as well. So health will be defined as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being of any organism. Now health is affected by genetic disorders, infections, change in lifestyle, food, water, rest, exercise habit, etc. Nowadays the diseases which are coming are due to lifestyle disorders. Okay. So health is affected by genetic disorders, any kind of infections you catch, or change in the lifestyle. Now mind influences the immune system through neural and endocrine systems and thereby the health. This we all know that in today's COVID era, we can say that immunity is required to fight the virus. Okay, so immunity can be strong when you are physically fit, mentally fit. Okay, so when the functioning of the organs or systems of the body is adversely affected, it is a disease. Okay, so when we can say that it is a disease, whenever the functioning of organ or systems of the body are affected, we can say that it is a disease. So healthy, you can see in the diagram, healthy body plus healthy mind is equal to happy life. Now disease can be broadly classified into infectious and non-infectious disease. So infectious disease are the disease which transmit from one person to another, and non-infectious disease are disease which do not transmit from one person to another. So in non-infectious disease we can say that genetic disorders can be taken into non-infectious diseases. Okay, so infectious disease, like you can say various bacteria, viruses and other things are seen in this diagram. Nowadays the COVID era, so see the doctor is also wearing mask, the person affected is also provided with a mask. Okay, and in non-infectious disease there is no transmission from one person to other person. Okay, now disease causing organisms are called pathogens. Okay, disease causing organisms are called pathogen, and parasites are pathogens as they harm the host. Okay, so disease causing organisms are called pathogens. Now there was a hypothesis, that is the good humor hypothesis, which was proposed by Hippocrates and Indian Ayurveda. Okay, it states that health is a state of body, mind where there is a balance between certain humors. Person with black bile belong to hot personality and would have fever. Okay, so it was a assumption that anybody who is having a balance of these humors will be healthy, and whenever a person is affected with certain imbalance, they will have a particular kind of disease. Like persons who have black bile, they belong to hot personality and they will have fever. Okay, now this William Harvey disproved this hypothesis. He is William Harvey. He discovered blood circulation and demonstrated normal body temperature in persons with black bile using thermometer. So he showed that it's not that a person who's having black bile will always have a fever, as we know that fever is an immunological response. So he discovered the blood circulation, and he also demonstrated normal body temperature in persons with black bile. Okay, and they disproved this hypothesis. Now common infectious disease in man. First we come to the bacterial diseases. The first one is the typhoid. The pathogen causing this disease is Salmonella typhi. Okay, What is the mode of transmission? It enters small intestine through food and water and migrates to other organs via blood. What are the symptoms? Sustained high fever, headache, weakness, stomach pain, constipation, loss of appetite, intestinal perforations, and death may occur. In severe cases, if not treated properly, this infection can grow to a wider area and cause perforations, that is holes in the intestine, and due to which death may occur. Okay, so the bacteria causing typhoid is Salmonella typhi. Okay, you can remember the name like typhi is for typhoid. Mode of transmission is it enters through small intestine through food and water, as the contaminated food and water will have spores of this bacteria, and as they get the human body acts as a host, and these organisms will start multiplying and infecting. Symptoms are sustained high fever, that is 39 to 40 degrees centigrade, headache, weakness, stomach pain, constipation, and loss of appetite. In many cases, intestinal perforations can be there and death may occur. Okay, so you can see in the diagram also, the first diagram given is the bacterial diagram. Okay, then mode of transmission, and then various symptoms of this disease. Okay, now this Vidal test is used for confirmation of the disease. Okay, you have to remember the name of the test, that is the Vidal test. Okay, here you can see the diagram of that bacteria. This is the flagellum, this is the H antigen and the O antigen. Okay, these antigens are responsible for causing the immunological response and help in their multiplication. This is the Vidal test. This is a type of agglutination reaction. I'm just telling this to inform you. You just have to remember the name. You can see that the dilution is done of antigen, that is the O and H antigen, and this is the serum of the patient. Okay, so whenever agglutination will occur, it is positive, and when it will not occur, it is negative. Okay, now this was spreaded by a lady, that is Mary Mallon, who was nicknamed Typhoid Mary, and she was a professional cook, and she was also a typhoid carrier who continued to spread typhoid for several years through the food she prepared. Okay, so you have to remember the name of this lady, that is Mary Mallon, or Typhoid Mary, you can say. Now comes pneumonia. Now pneumonia is also a bacterial infection, and it infects the lung alveoli. What happens? The alveoli will get filled with the fluid, and which will lead to the respiratory problems. So see here, you can see in the diagram, these are the normal air sacs, and these are the inflamed air sacs with fluid inside them. Okay, so this pneumonia is caused by a pathogen, that is Streptococcus pneumonia and Haemophilus influenza, these two. Okay, so this pneumonia is caused by organisms Streptococcus pneumonia and Haemophilus influenza. Mode of transmission is inhaling the droplets, aerosols released by an infected person, sharing glasses and utensils with an infected person. This is the diagram of Streptococcus pneumonia, and this is the Haemophilus influenza. Okay, now what are the symptoms? The symptoms are respiratory problems, fever, chills, cough, headache. In severe cases, lips and fingernails turn grey to bluish color. This happens why? Because as the alveoli are not able to do proper diffusion due to the deposition of liquid, and due to the loss in the elasticity of the membrane, outer membrane, and due to a large amount of fluid, they are not able to diffuse oxygen, and so in that person the oxygen will be reduced, and so the blood in the particular area like lips and fingernails will look like it is of what color? It is of bluish grayish color. Okay, so bacterial disease in pneumonia, the organism was Streptococcus pneumonia and Haemophilus influenza. This was mode of transmission was inhaling the droplets, aerosols released by an infected person, sharing glasses and utensils with an infected person. Symptoms are respiratory problems, fever, chills, cough, headache. In severe cases, lips and fingernails turn grey or to bluish in color. So here you can do what? As I've made the division of the pathogen, mode of transmission, symptoms, you can write it like this also if the disease is asked in the examination. Now comes the viral disease. Now this viral disease, common viral disease we know is the common cold. Okay, so it infects what? Nose and respiratory passage but not lungs. Okay, it lasts for 3 to 7 days. It is not that deadly as coronavirus because it is only infecting the nose and respiratory passage, but the coronavirus can go into the lungs and cause a lot more damage. So we all are afraid of this virus actually. Okay, so this virus infects nose and respiratory passage but not lungs and lasts for 3 to 7 days. Now the virus particular is rhinovirus, group of virus, that is rhinoviruses. Mode of transmission is inhaling droplets resulting from cough or sneezes through contaminated objects. Okay, pens, books, cups, doorknobs, computer accessories, etc. Symptoms are nasal congestion and discharge, fever, headache, sore throat, cough, hoarseness, tiredness, etc. Okay, so you can see a diagram of the person sneezing. So the common cold virus is the rhinoviruses. Many viruses are there. That's why we cannot see. Common cold is a disease which is everyone is infected with this disease in any time. Okay, so we can take vaccination and keep ourselves protected, but the problem is that many viruses, thousands and thousands of viruses are capable of causing this particular common cold. Okay, so we cannot take thousands and thousands vaccines and it's not that deadly. Okay, so it gets cured in 3 to 7 days. That's why vaccination is not there for this common cold. Okay, because many viruses are there and we cannot take vaccination for so many of virus, and it's not possible also. So pathogen is the rhinovirus. Mode of transmission is inhaling droplets resulting from cough or sneezes through contaminated objects, that is pen, books, cup, doorknobs, computer accessories, etc. And symptoms are nasal congestion and discharge, fever, headache, sore throat, cough, hoarseness, tiredness, etc. Okay. Now comes the protozoan disease. So first we'll take the malaria. Okay, so the pathogen is the Plasmodium species, that is the Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium malaria, and Plasmodium falciparum. Now Plasmodium falciparum causes most serious malignant malaria. Mode of transmission is by biting of female Anopheles mosquito, and symptoms are hemozoin, a toxin released by Plasmodium, causes chill and high fever recurring every 3-4 days. Okay, now this is not particularly toxin released from Plasmodium. It's actually when the protozoan enters in our RBC. Okay, the RBC is split, and due to the splitting of RBC, the hemoglobin present in them, it's converted into a toxin, that is hemozoin. Okay, and this is responsible for chill and high fever. Now what is the life cycle of this malaria? You can see here, this mosquito is biting, so gametocytes will enter into the body. See, you can see that gametocyte enters into the body. Now there will be the first sporozoites will enter into the body like this. Here they will first go to the liver, then they will multiply, then they'll form the merozoites, then they will infect the RBC. Okay, first they will infect the liver, then they will infect the RBC, and then in RBC they will form what? Gametes. Okay, now these gametes will again be engulfed by another mosquito, and when these gametocytes will go in the alimentary canal of this mosquito, these will unite and they will form sporozoites, and they will be stored in the salivary glands of this mosquito, and whenever this mosquito bites, it will again go into the other person. So in this way the life cycle of Plasmodium will continue. Okay, so here a particular proper diagram is given, like it starts from here. Mosquito will bite to a human, sporozoites are infected, parasites will reach the liver through blood, then asexual reproduction. You have to remember that asexual reproduction will take place in RBC and liver both, but after some time, after doing a proper or a particular amount of infection in the body, it will form the gametocytes also in RBC. Okay, so sexual cycle will be there, sexual stage will be there, but first asexual stages will be seen. So asexual reproduction will occur in the liver cells. Okay, bursting cells release into the blood. Now asexual reproduction in RBC, bursting RBC will release hemozoin, and cycles of fever and other symptoms will be there. Okay, now the gametocytes will be produced in the RBC. Then the female mosquito will suck blood with gametocyte. Fertilization and development will occur in the mosquito's gut, and mature infected stages of sporozoites escape from the intestine and migrate to the mosquito salivary glands, and this way when this mosquito will bind another human, he or she will have the disease. Okay, so this particular protozoan disease, that is malaria, is caused by Plasmodium species. 3 of them can cause, but Plasmodium falciparum causes the most serious malaria. Mode of transmission is by biting of female Anopheles mosquitoes. Okay, hemozoin is released, which is responsible for causing chills and high fever. Okay, when we are going to specific symptoms in a particular disease, we are aware that in malaria people have this chills and high fever. Okay, so this is the life cycle here. The sporozoites will enter into the body. Okay, see this arrow. Then they go into the liver, they do asexual reproduction. Then these go into the RBC. There also they do the asexual reproduction. Then after some time they do the sexual reproduction and form what? Gametocyte. And these gametocyte again goes into the mosquito. Okay, it goes into the gut, that is the alimentary canal. There they mature their self and spore is formed. Okay, by fusion of the male and the female gamete, and this spore is stored in the salivary gland of the mosquito. Okay, so this is there. Like first of all, sporozoites are the sporozoites. Mosquito will bite a human. Sporozoites are injected. Parasites will reach the liver through blood. In this way you have to read it. Okay, now asexual reproduction in liver cells will occur. Bursting cells release into the blood. Asexual reproduction will also occur in RBC. This will result in bursting of the RBC, where the hemozoin will be released, which is responsible for the chills and the fever. Then the gametocytes will be produced, and these gametocytes will be sucked by the female mosquito. Fertilization and development of these gametocyte will take place in the mosquito's gut, and after that mature infective stages, that is sporozoite, will escape from the intestine and migrate to the mosquito salivary gland, and it would be stored there. And when this female mosquito is taking a blood meal, okay, again when it will bite another human, the disease will be spreaded. Okay, so we saw particular disease in this, that was the bacterial disease. We saw bacterial disease typhoid. Okay, here you have to remember the test, the lady who was spreading this disease. Okay, the pathogen name, mode of transmission and symptoms. Then we studied pneumonia. Okay, pathogen name is very important, that is Streptococcus pneumonia and Haemophilus influenza. Then we saw this viral disease, that is the common cold. We saw here the most important name of the viruses which are causing this common cold, that is rhinoviruses. Okay, then we saw a protozoan disease, that is the malaria. Okay, the pathogen which are responsible are given here. Okay, and the deadly one is the Plasmodium falciparum. Mode of transmission was by biting of female Anopheles mosquitoes, and hemozoin was released. Okay. Also, we saw the life cycle of the Plasmodium. Okay. So this life cycle of the Plasmodium is very important, and you have to remember each and every stage. You can make like this. Okay, you can make a flow chart like this and show me, or you can show every stage by a diagram. Okay, whichever you like, you can do it, but it should be proper. Okay, so these are some of the disease we studied in chapter common disease, which we studied in chapter human health and disease.